Today we get to chat with Paolo, the bass player and backing clean vocalist of the band Trivium, discussing their upcoming EP release, Struck Dead, which will be out October 31st. I hope you enjoy.
How you doing?
Good,
Oops.
how are you?
Good. Do you need me to turn this like sideways or?
Nope, you're
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Perfect.
I love that you're wearing the Orbit Culture shirt again because
Yes.
I feel like I that's a different one I think than the last time I saw you in an interview and on the video.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. I probably have a couple now. It's the perks of
yeah.
touring with good bands.
So, oh, is that what it's from? Is the tour?
Yeah. Yeah. It's at the end of tour, everyone's swapping shirts and getting free clothes and swag.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I actually interviewed Nicholas it's been probably about a month ago now.
Yeah.
Uh such a neat
He's
genuine person.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved touring with him. They're awesome and definitely hope to again. But yeah, their new album's great.
Yeah.
Just obviously seen him on the tour, but even before we toured together, I went out and saw him, and I was like, "Yeah, this is right up my alley."
Yeah. I haven't been able to see him yet, but I can only imagine because they're so diverse. They're like they
Hmm.
have so many different styles that they add into one band. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
no,
Yeah.
very killer.
Yeah. So, but we're here to talk about your guys' upcoming
Yes,
EP, which is going to be out on Halloween, the same day that you guys are going on tour. Spooky.
yeah, yeah. We seem to be unable to release anything outside of October because, like, I think we have like 4 or 5 records we've released in October. This will be the first EP in October. So for some reason, that's Trivium month.
Well, you know what? The upcoming album that you guys are working on and planning on doing, maybe it'll be October of next year or the year after.
I mean, honestly, like just like thinking in my head, I'm like, if we were to be able to stay on the schedule, we kind of think it's very, very possible. So it'd be cool if we could just maybe get it into September or November just for a change. It's been a
I
while.
don't know. We'll just call October Trivia Month. I don't
I
think there's
know it's
anything
gonna be
wrong with
like
that.
the Toyota-thon of for records, It's just like every time that month comes up, that's when we do all our deals for our back catalog.
Nothing wrong with that, although at some point you should probably do a Halloween album if you're going to keep up
I
that
know.
trajectory.
If I would have known, we could have maybe done something from Nightmare Before Christmas. That would have been
Ah,
fun.
that would have been fun. That would have been super fun.
Yeah.
Well, you've released one song off of the EP so
Yeah.
far. The whole EP is incredible. I
Thank you.
mean, with it being 3 songs, I've listened to it probably 23 times. Um, what is the one that you guys already released your favorite out of the three, or do
Mhm.
you have a favorite?
I think the title track's my favorite.
Mhm.
But honestly, all three are really fun. We
Mhm.
went into it with like I would say this was probably like a pretty loose concept. We weren't trying to be like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. It was really like build this recording studio in our hangar space first, which took a long time. So we
Yeah.
were like kind of writing, we were rehearsing Ascendancy, writing some more, waiting for the construction to be done. And I feel like it ended up being a lot more than we thought it was going to be. But we just kind of kept writing. And so I think when you just have all that time, you just keep putting everything into each song, everything into each song. So, like Six Walls is definitely the longest of the tracks, probably the most proggy of them all. But in a weird way, I guess the EP went a little more proggy than I was expecting it to. Not that like the diehard Trivium fans will have a problem with that, but yeah, it was just really kind of fun to just be like, we really have no objective here right now. We're just kind of writing for the sake of it. But it was fun because like playing Ascendancy and then doing like a writing session right after or like back to back was fun because there's so much energy and heaviness on Ascendancy that it's kind of like a nice way to kind of like ease into writing where you're just kind of like in that mode. That's why the tuning of this EP is all just in the drop D tuning we do from Ascendancy. Um, it's basically we're just like, well, we're rehearsing this. We're gonna just write in this as well. So it was kind of nice to kind of go back and forth, and it doesn't feel like it's like a throwback to that record. But I would say, if anything, the energy from it, from rehearsing it, definitely transferred a little bit. And I'm excited for people to hear the other two because I
Yeah.
do feel like because it's an EP, the replayability will be pretty high. You'd be like,
Yes.
okay, I got to the end. You're like, I probably should listen again and just
Yes.
keep going back through. And yeah, I'm excited to hear what people think. People seem to like Bury Me, so
Mhm.
Struck Dead's probably my favorite, but Six Walls has a lot of really fun, cool riffs. I have to go back and listen because I'm like, I took a little break and every time I go back, I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty sick. That's really cool. We thought of that.
Yes, I really like Six Walls because I really like the acoustic beginning and then the
Oh
kind of
yeah.
ramp up. But I like musical shifts in songs. I
Yeah.
Mr. Bungle is one of my favorite bands. I like when something like, dynamically shifts. So I really dig that one. Um yeah, so it's been over 20 years since that one. Was it interesting, or did you guys even notice like the huge evolution between those 20 years? Because that was like the beginning to
Yeah.
now. And there's
Yeah, I
been
mean
so much
there's
that's happened in between.
yeah, there's always stuff happening, I guess. It's like there's definitely been a big growth, I think, as players, as writers. But I mean, when I listen back to that record and as we played it, I'm like, I'm still very impressed, like that we made that at that age. I think not that like we weren't good players then. I think it was like, probably at the time more at the top of our abilities of like, now when we played it, I'm like, that doesn't feel as hard as I remember when we were like tracking it. But it's still like, yeah, like we put everything into it. And I think for even though Ember to Inferno was the debut Trivium record, for most people, this was the debut with Roadrunner to the wider public.
Yep.
And, what a way to kind of just come onto the scene with an album like that. And to play it now, I mean, it still feels so fun, still fresh to play. Every song on that record, I feel like I wouldn't have lost any of them. And the EP, or excuse me, the special edition of Ascendancy, the two B-sides and the Master of Puppets cover, I'm like, basically everything we recorded during that whole time, I think stands up pretty well.
That's awesome. That's got to feel really good to be able to
Yeah.
recognize that and see that. So with bigger bands, I like to ask, do you remember the time, first of all, that you were like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to play music. Like, was there a show or a
hmm
song or an experience that brought that out of you? And at what point were you like, I mean, it was probably during that album. This is what I get to do. This is going to
Yeah.
be my life.
So I started playing bass when I was like 11. I started guitar at about 12. And I really started playing in bands almost immediately because the reason I started bass was to play this thing called the Italian Festival at my school. Went to a Catholic school, so we had our little festival every year. And me and my friends played For Whom the Bell Tolls, Self-Esteem by Offspring, Damn It by Blink-182. So you can probably guess
All
the
over the board.
time frame.
90s,
Well,
definitely.
maybe not For Whom the Bell Tolls, but those other two you can kind of guess the time frame. So I mean, just playing live made me realize like this is fun, this is exciting. If there's a way to do this, I would love to. And it's like I just kind of stuck with it. I kept getting more serious about it. And then when I graduated high school, I joined up with Trivium like about a month or two after, and I did my first tour with them was the Machine Head Chimera Road Rage tour.
Oh, geez, that's a big one.
And yeah, just really thrown right into the fire there. And it was incredible. I mean, we're still friends with all those guys all these years later. Actually ran into Chimera at Louder Than Life.
Ah,
It was just like great to see everyone. It's like, but that was such an amazing tour. And I was like, yeah, I'm sticking with this. I couldn't have imagined, what it would turn into for us, but I just knew like playing and playing shows, like to me, that was like enough at the time. It wasn't like as you kind of get older, as you have a family, you realize, okay, there should be more to things than just like having fun on tour. And thankfully, our band has grown to be able to support all that stuff. But
yeah.
like, I really like that sustained me in the beginning. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, I get to be out here and people get to watch us, and we have to try to win them over or whatever. It was an exciting time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Chimera, they just kind of made their little comeback. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that they'll continue on. I wasn't sure if that was I mean, Mark's kind of mentioned a little bit here and there that it sounds like they're maybe making a full comeback, but
Yeah. Be
not
cool to
really.
hear
He's
some
been
new
kind of
music.
cryptic.
They I mean that Impossibility to Reason and the self-titled are, you know, classics in my opinion. I love them. And they were always great live. So if they can come back, if they can make it work, it'll be killer. It's
Yeah.
always good to have great bands like that back on the road.
For sure. Now you mentioned a pretty diverse trio of songs there of ones that you had originally were playing with at the Catholic school.
Mhm.
What were I mean, is that kind of across the board? What are the stuff that you were growing up listening to? Was it all over the place, or did you have was it more like you had to? adhere to other people what they wanted to play, and so you're like,
Um,
I'll do that one.
Sort of evolved. I mean, in the beginning, it was kind of like, playing an instrument and playing what was popular at the time. So,
Mhm.
like, I remember really, before I discovered like the harder stuff, like metal, it was like, Sublime, 311, um, anything that had a lot of like cool bass lines, of course, like Offspring, and then getting more into punk, pop punk, Blink 182. And then it was like discovering Metallica, seeing them on MTV, seeing King Nothing. I'm like, oh, what's this? This is like it's kind of dark. This is, it's funny now. It's like, the true Metallica fans of the time are like, what the hell are they doing? And I'm like, me, young kids, like, this is incredible. This is the greatest thing ever. And of course, I'm like, I gotta get everything with that Metallica on it. And basically to this day, I've never lost that love for that band, still my
Yeah.
favorite. And but that's what kind of sent me down that path. But, I've always kind of been into a lot of different things. But once I kind of got into metal, it was like you kind of keep searching for stuff. You go to
Yeah.
the underground, you go to the
Hmm.
big bands, you see what inspired what, who plays on this record and also played on this record. It's kind of it's like a big family tree, and you got to like
Yeah.
discover who's your great grandfather band here. And like, it's fun. I mean, that I guess is the really nice thing, at least for streaming. I'm like that it's made things a lot easier than it used to be, but I still love to search out new stuff. Obviously, still love new bands. So it's kind of never been a thing I've grown out of.
Yes, no, for sure. It's so I love how much metal. I mean, there's so much depth and so much love for the genre. Metalheads, they're so genuine and sincere to the genre. It's not fair. There's no fair weather metalheads. Everybody
No.
is gung ho. So the family tree is like spot on.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, I was just going to ask you about something else you were talking about there. Oh, Metallica seems to be kind of the gateway for so many people. And it's so
Hmm.
interesting throughout all the years. What did they start? Probably in the 80s?
Yeah, like
80s, I think,
82,
early
83.
80s. Yeah. But it's so interesting because I'm assuming we're about the same age because I grew up listening to those 90s bands as well. Um, but then even my son, who's 17, an incredible
Hmm.
guitar player, his gateway was Metallica as well because of
Yeah.
Stranger Things, Master of Puppets
Oh
on Stranger
wow.
Things.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's so wild, how you kind of find your way to different bands, but like, obviously they've been at the peak, and they have so many incredible things of how like they just are reintroduced to like new people. But it also has been a thing that I've kind of taken from them as well, besides just the musical inspiration, just like the importance of even being the biggest band sometimes isn't enough. You have to kind of try to expand yourself in other ways. And then like, Metallica's big, but like Stranger Things and like a show like that is so culturally massive that it goes well beyond like, metal. And it's
yeah,
even weird to say like it's bigger than Metallica,
right.
but like how that like, yeah, you could still always find new fans through these kind of
Yes.
interesting things. And I guess that is the exciting thing about these times, I would say, is like people can find old and new bands in different ways, and when it connects it can really like explode, in a way
Yeah,
that 20 years ago it wasn't really a thing like that. I don't Off the top of my head, I don't remember bands, especially newer bands. I don't remember newer bands like blowing up as quickly. It was definitely a more of a took a more of an effort, I think, from labels with like different things like
yeah.
radio and all that kind of stuff. And now it's like, someone could do something that for whatever reason connects, and it just like goes insane.
It's
So
pretty
it is
awesome.
exciting. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely pros and cons, of course, to the what's
for
been
sure.
happening in the music industry. Yeah, easier to get music out there, but I think obviously you guys don't get financially compensated as well as I feel like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should.
There's always the trade-offs to these things of like, well, at
Hmm.
some point the exposure will turn into something else.
Right,
But I guess that's always the thing. You like, yeah, maybe a video goes viral, but does that mean people come see you at a show? Does that mean people buy
right.
the records or whatever? But yeah, that's always it's probably harder for a newer band, if that hasn't happened yet, like if you have to really kind of like grind it out, um, to create that sort of thing. But I guess it's just really a tale as old as time. You have to kind of figure it out, whatever the thing is at the time, because I mean it's always shifting, and it's like,
Yeah,
is TikTok going to be the thing in 5 years? I don't know. Like history has told us, my 20-year career, it's like it's been MySpace, it's been this, it's been that, and you have to kind of like figure out how do you utilize this thing. Um, and yeah, it's probably never going to end. Probably the
Oh.
day we retire, it'll be some new thing, and we'll be like, okay, what is this thing?
Yeah, oh my gosh, and I'm sure it's exhausting. It's exhausting even on my end trying to keep
Yeah,
track and keep up on top
very
of all of it. So
exhausting.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Something I think is really important to ask everybody, especially since you guys are such a hardworking band that travels a lot. What are some things you do to help with balance, to help with self-care, to make sure that
hmm
you're mentally well throughout all of it?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is being really open and communicating with your bandmates. We're really tight. We basically are always hanging out like show days and days off, like, you know, maybe going to dinner, going out for a walk, going and doing stuff. I think keeping the lines of communication open, especially if someone seems like they're having some issues, is very important. I definitely learned over the years that like not to let things fester. If you see something that like you see someone's not doing well, you got to like speak up,
Yeah.
and have an uncomfortable conversation if you have to. But it's like the other side of it is like could be much worse. It could be irreparable if it's not dealt with then. And so yeah, that is something that we've just always tried to be mindful of. And of course, even our crew, I feel like we have a lot of crew that stays with us, even if they get maybe other offers from other bands. It's like they want to keep working with us because they like us. They like the way we travel, that we're really easy people to work with, and we know what we want. I think that's maybe another thing too. Like, I think it can be very frustrating to work with people that are like, oh, I'm not really sure, but then not being satisfied with whatever the result is. So
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, yeah, like I'm pretty proud that like we seem to have a long-term crew that like likes to stick around. I think that says a lot about us, I would hope.
Yes.
But yeah, they stick around, so we can't be too bad.
No, for sure. I agree. I mean that's one of the like when going for a new job, that's one of the things I always ask the place, like how is your longest stand or how long has your longest standing employer been
hmm
here and how or employee, geez, I cannot speak this morning. And how short, has your and
Yeah.
everything in between because it does say a lot about like
hmm
who's running the ship.
The turnover, yeah. No, I
Hmm.
mean, we've tried to stay as consistent as possible with all those kind of things.
Well, the three of you guys have been together for yeah, what, 20 years now, a little over 20 years.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I joined August 20, or excuse me, 2004, and then Corey was 2003. So yeah, it's been a
yeah,
long time.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'm sure there's yeah, strong brotherhood and it's good that you guys look out for each other and make sure you guys keep each other healthy
hmm
and yeah, your mind's on track and everything. You guys are coming up for your tour with Ginger. We actually are going to be seeing you the end of November.
Oh,
I'm in Idaho.
nice. Oh,
So,
killer. Yeah.
yeah, so we'll be seeing you for that show. And so I'm assuming I'm going to be seeing a lot of Ginger shirts next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Definitely be picking up a couple of those.
I'm a big fan, so I'm really excited to see both
Awesome.
of you
Yeah,
guys
we're
on it.
excited to tour with them. We've never toured them before.
Yeah, both you guys on a bill, I think is going to be awesome. And I've heard great things about them as people as well, so I'm sure you guys will vibe really well, hopefully.
Yeah, I heard I think the bass player does jujitsu, and that basically for Matt is like immediately best friends. So
Oh,
they'll
that'll
be
be
roll
awesome.
they'll be rolling around in the parking lot, I'm sure. You can
The
go
rest of you
go
guys
watch
will
the
have
show
to steer
before.
clear. Hopefully, just not in the pit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it seems like people are doing anymore in the pits.
Oh
Those
my, yeah,
those
yeah.
knock loose and Kubla Khan shows.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Oh well, it's so funny because I'm like that's like basically like I just remember going back to shows like back in the early 2000s, like seeing bands like Full Blown Chaos and stuff, and I'm like, man, I guess some things never change. There's always it's just a news cycle of people. Those
yeah.
people phased out or or got injured, had to stop, and then the next kind of bands come along, and then it's like do it again, and then those people kind of get injured, and then the next, it's I guess one of those things. I'm like, it's a good release. Being able to get in the pit and do that stuff. I was never really super into the moshing stuff myself. I was like always like I'm trying to watch what they're doing up
All
there.
right. I paid for this
Yeah,
ticket. I want to see what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've always been as well. Like I paid for this, I want to actually watch, but
hmm
I get it too. I get the energy exchange and how it can be really good for letting off steam and
Oh
just
yeah,
enjoying yourself. It's
for
something
sure.
every time my son is wanted to get in one, I know it's safe, and so I don't even stress about it. I don't even worry
Yeah.
about it. I'm a very anxious parent. I'm a very anxious mother, and that's
Yeah.
one place that I don't worry about him in.
Yeah, crowd surfing is the only one that makes me nervous from the
Yes.
stage. I don't like watching it sometimes because I feel like there's not enough security a lot of times. Like they always make it work, but I'm always like, it's been a couple close calls, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, and if I feel like I see someone almost like get thrown
Fall on
over
their
without
neck.
someone catching them, I'm like, immediately I go to like our tour manager. I'm like, hey, you got to get more security down there.
Yes.
Because I'm like, if people are coming over, like, you got to be there to catch them. Like we can't like be playing it like, oh, we have just enough. I'm like, maybe send a couple extra guys over there. You never know
Yeah.
what song's gonna make it all of a sudden go from 0 to 60 like really quick.
Right.
That's definitely happened before where it's like there's no
Oh.
crowd surfers for a couple songs and then out of nowhere it just like goes wild for some reason and then that's it. You're off to
As
the
soon as one
races.
person starts it, it becomes like a domino
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I
100%.
agree. I agree. Those can be really scary because sometimes it looks like they're going to fall on their necks.
Oh yeah, yeah. It scares me.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I don't want to take up a whole lot much more of your time, but it is October. Are you a horror movie fan at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd say my favorite movie probably is The Exorcist. I would say
Yeah.
that's a top five for me for sure. That's like
Did
one I could watch a million times.
did you watch it when you were younger?
Yes,
And
yes,
it
I
didn't
loved
scare
it.
the crap out of you?
I'm trying to think when I watched it. I feel like I was watching some pretty intense stuff at a pretty young age. Now that I have kids, I'm like, I don't know if like I don't know
Different
if I would have shown
times.
myself like Highlander 2 when I was like 6 or 7. But I mean, I've always loved like scary movies, horror movies. And it's funny because my daughter is definitely super into like spooky stuff. And she's been since she was young, and I thought there was gonna be a point where it was like, okay, she's scared. I'm like, no, she's like loving it. Like going to Spirit Halloween, she wants me to go up and get scared by the thing. She loves that. So I'm like, okay,
Oh,
I got another spooky kid on my hand.
yes, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to show her the classics then. And then, do you
Hmm.
have the newer ones that you've really enjoyed?
Ooh, newer. Oh, that Weapons movie was great. I don't know if you've
That's
seen
really
that.
good.
I liked it.
Yes.
I thought it was very. I thought and that dude. It's so funny. He's from that sketch show, The Whitest Kids You Know. Because I loved that too back in the day. But like the director, he did that one. He did Barbarian. I really was just like, they just felt really creative. It's like to take some horror tropes and sort of flip them around or do some like creative new things. I mean. Yeah, that it's just like exciting. I feel like horror movies, for whatever reason, have just really been for at least for the last decade. I feel like the most fun, creative things coming
Yeah.
out. Of course, like Hereditary is probably
Mhm.
uh, that's got to be a top one for me. Still, when I first saw that, I was like, fine. Like I finally felt like something that made me feel like what The Exorcist did when I first saw it.
Yes.
Just that kind of like this is so terrifying like right now and creepy and just really kind of gets into your bones and kind of like doesn't leave after a couple days. You're just like, wow, I'm still thinking about that. But
Right.
yeah, definitely a great time to be a horror fan, that's for sure.
No, for sure. I really like the Smile movies too. I thought those were super creative as well.
Oh, I don't know if which one I don't know if I've seen those. Maybe no, excuse me. I saw the first one, but there's more though right now.
There's a second one, and the second one, in
Okay.
my opinion, is better than the
All
first.
right, I gotta see if I can watch that one tonight because I like the concept of that first one, so I'd be very curious to see what the second's like.
I think you'll like the second one because it does have musical elements, even though it's like
Interesting.
pop music.
Yeah,
It's really very very creative. And then Weapons, I heard they're going to be doing a movie with
the
the ant about
prequel
the
one.
ants.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
She was terrifying. Like, what a
She
great character.
terrifying. She was so
Yeah.
terrifying. I stupidly watched on Netflix. There's this new documentary called True Haunting that just came out
Mm.
yesterday, and I started it last night and was watching it by myself in the dark. And I
Oh
thought
no.
I'm not going to be sleeping, and I'm like I have an interview in the morning. I need to get some sleep, so I had to turn on some Modern Family to try to etch a sketch erase some of
Yeah.
it.
See, I'm like, I feel like for me, it's like I can watch stuff like that and like fall asleep. And I remember when I was still living in Chicago with my now wife, and I put on The Exorcist, and I think I passed out in like 5 minutes, and so she was still kind of awake, and so she was just like, just like having to like listen to all of these like horrible things and stuff. And she loves the movie too, but it was just like I think she thought I was still watching it. And I was like, I had passed out at that point. So she's like watching this terrifying movie as I'm like
By
sleeping like a
herself.
baby. Yeah.
At least you were right next to her, so she wasn't like alone.
Yeah.
She could
Yeah.
have
I
just
have a tendency to do that with movies sometimes. I'll just kind of nod off if it's been a long day.
like, this is my relaxing movie,
Yeah. My relaxing, terrifying movie.
right? Well, thank you so much time for taking this
Thank
time with
you.
me, Paulo. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the road, and
Yeah.
I'm
We're
looking
excited.
forward to this release. Are you going to be playing? Can I ask? Are you going to be playing anything else off of this release on this tour?
Yeah, so we're working on it right now, and obviously, I guess we didn't really get into it, but obviously Alex and us have parted
Yeah.
ways,
Hmm.
drummer. But so we have this incredible talented kid Grayson who's been playing with Sepultura. He's like we basically gave him like a master list of like songs, like way more than we would play. And we were kind of like, these are the ones we definitely want to do. These are ones that are kind of like options. So we're kind of like giving him a little bit of kind of some choice of like, okay, I'm kind of
Okay.
feeling this one or that one, just
Mhm.
because it's such a tight turnaround. Even though I think
A
he said he
huge
learned like
task.
20, he learned like 20 something, 28 songs with Sepultura in like 13 days. So I'm like, we're basically asking for 14, 15 in like now he's got like, a little over 3 weeks. So I'm like, okay,
Right.
that's a little more doable. But there are some
Uh,
songs in our catalog that are like intense on the drumming side. So I wanted to give him the full range. And of course, the newer EP is pretty intense. So basically, I kind of said probably Bury Me, Struck Dead would be the ones to focus on. But we might be one of those things where we drop it in a little later in the tour once
mhm.
we've like been able to jam because we have like our jam set up so we can kind of rehearse on the tour. So we might
Oh,
start the
nice.
set as one thing and maybe kind of like over the course of the tour, especially if hitting you guys at the end, I would say probably likely we'll be at least doing one or two from the new EP as
Awesome.
well.
Some cool. Well, I do want to quickly say I do appreciate how well that was all handled with Alex because as we know there are some bands that obviously have some major drama that when it comes to that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
especially when it's abrupt like that, but it sounds like it was a very polite, parting and there's no hard feelings and I it's
Yeah, we
always good to see that.
try to keep things, at least for us, it's always been about keeping things kind of keeping things really positive because at the end of the day, no matter what, even if it's been in the past where like people like didn't get along, like we still made records together. So I never wanted people to feel like torn between like loyalty to us or to that player
Yeah.
or like I don't want factions within the fan base, which I'm like, there is a natural thing of like, well, I like this guy more than that guy or for whatever reason. But I'm like, I don't want to like create it a real hostile thing
Yeah.
beyond like I prefer this type of drumming or that. It's like, I don't want it to be like, well, that guy was this or they treated this guy like that. It's like, once you start doing that, like you're not winning
Mm.
anything at the end of the day. So, I mean, we had a discussion, before everything where it was like, yeah, just pretty much let's just keep everything cool, That's really what fans deserve.
Yeah.
And
You guys
that's
deserve
really
too.
it. Yeah, no, I think it's good like that. And it's like, of course, it never is a good feeling to do, but I think in the end it's all good. So I hope fans once they've kind of got a chance, with the tour, and then once they kind of see what we do next, because we're actively obviously looking for someone because Grayson goes back to Sepultura.
Of course, yeah.
So we're very fortunate to be in our position because basically we had a ton of emails come in right away of like incredible drummers, and it's like, but we got to take one thing at a time, and it's really
Yeah.
like a choice we take seriously and we have to think about it because we have a lot of things that we need from someone,
Hmm.
because we're basically like we're based here in Orlando. We built a studio, we have our big rehearsal space, we have all this stuff, and I'm like, it's kind of important someone is here with us. So
Yeah,
that's like the
absolutely.
number one, honestly.
Right. So with the new album that you guys are working on, it'll be whoever you guys end up choosing for the new drummer that'll be featured on that.
Probably. I would imagine so. I don't want to say 100% if there was some reason we couldn't, but I would imagine if it's someone that we think is like capable of doing the touring next year,
Hmm.
we'll have kind of vetted them for like playing on a record and like writing and stuff like that because we have a ton of stuff written, so it's like we plan to keep writing, keep going, so we'll have some opportunities maybe to play with some people in that capacity, and it's really just like writing way more than we're gonna need, and then figuring out like what is gonna be the record, what's gonna feel good, what takes shape, what songs are standing out together. So yeah, we're like really kind of like almost new album mode as we kind of finish this tour. It's
Yeah.
kind of been this kind of like constant thing, but that's the benefit of having a studio
Yeah.
in your own space. It's like, yeah, this basically we're always thinking about that next step, like what's to come, new music, because I guess at the end of the day, that's the most exciting thing a band can do is new music. Obviously
Right.
touring is great, but people are waiting for that next track, and
Yeah.
couldn't believe it's been 4 years today since we released In the Court of the Dragon. So
Yeah, yeah, it goes
nuts.
fast, I'm sure. Well, and
Hmm.
and the building or the jam space is complete, right? It's all finished.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Well, awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys. I look forward to hearing what you guys come
Yeah.
up with next. I look forward to seeing who you guys end up with. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.